Hello everybody, I am Andrew Bermudez. I was the director, animator, and all-around creator for the 2017 BRAWL entry, or I should say late BRAWL entry, Clone. And today I want to give you a behind-the-scenes look at this particular late BRAWL entry and take a look at the development process that went into it, some of the ideas I had when I was making it, and also a look at the sets, how they were constructed, the ideas I had going into them, and in general, how it was generally received. Now, clearly, the main intent behind this film was, just like with New Year's Resolution and Rift, I wanted to introduce one of the new original characters that I created that will eventually appear in the film BioCore. So, because it's an original film, I want to introduce all these characters, and I eventually want to do so throughout these different entries. But this film in particular, I chose Mark Walker as the character to introduce. And as for where the story came from, of the whole cloning situation, it came from a very unusual place in that it was from a recent episode of TTV Talks. You see, recently they launched Season 2, and in one of the more recent episodes, there was a hypothetical question asked about if, for some absolutely unknown reason, if you were instantaneously cloned and just right in front of you, a clone of yourself just popped up, what would happen? So they discussed about what would happen if they had a clone of themselves in their lives. And of course there was the restriction of that. This person's literally the exact same person as yourself. So that was something I really thought about, and I was thinking that could make an interesting movie. So I actually had this idea in mind as a hypothetical long before BRAWL 2017 even started. Originally in the script, I was actually going to focus more on Mark Walker and his relationship to his clone. However, when I sent in the script for review earlier that week, I had some family members look at it, and they said that the whole relationship thing felt too forced. It felt like I stuck it in there because I wanted it to happen. So in that case, the script from the cloning onward was drastically changed, so then it brought in a focus on Solarum and Mark Walker's interaction with that particular corporation from the movie of the same name. When it came to building the sets, one thing that I learned early on with these short-term contests, in that there's a certain time limit, is that I had this tendency to try to have it take place over too many different locations. I just did, if you remember when Barrels Fly, that film literally took place over 4 completely different locations, because I had the Wild West Trail, the Wild West Town, the prehistoric jungle, and the 1930s living room. And there were way too many sets for how short that time frame was. And while I did have more time for this particular film, I still wanted it to keep it simple. So I went with 3 sets instead of that larger number, but I also did it in that the sets were easily built and that I was able to work with them really well to make it work with what I had written. So now I want to go over each individual set. So the first set that I filmed on is actually the very last set appears in the movie. It's the police academy in Anchorage. This is literally just when Mark Walker is boxing and then he looks outside and sees Cromwell Powell talking to someone else from the academy. So this set was very simple, not a lot to it. I put a few things on the wall just to give the interior more visual interest. The biggest thing to note here is actually how I created the sense of a skyline, city skyline in the background. For that, I literally just took the miniature buildings from the Steven Spielberg Movie Maker set, built a few extra buildings with color schemes that make them feel like they're part of the police academy, and then just stick them in the background behind Cromwell Powell outside the window. And with them out of focus, they wouldn't look like miniature buildings, but look like full-scale buildings that are just really far away. For the second set, the neighborhood, building it was really easy because for the houses, I literally just used the creator houses from the different LEGO creator sets and then just put some road plates in front with some extra trees and things like that to give a sense of a neighborhood in Billings, Montana. For some of the effects that I did in the particular set, probably for me, one of the most successful effects in this film is actually probably one of the easiest to do. It was more of like creating the high headlight effect for the truck as it zooms towards Dominic Dursk. For that, I literally just took a tiny pocket flashlight, stuck it behind the truck, and animated the truck moving, and then just moved the flashlight behind the truck as if it was the headlights. So it created that nice effect there. For the last set of the film, which was inside Mark Walker's house, for this set, I literally built the entirety of the interior of a small house. I wanted to get the sense of the whole house being there and having everything placed properly within the house. And also, by building Mark Walker's house, I will say this, by doing that, I really got a better sense of who this character is, because when I was building it, I was thinking to myself, okay, so while the house itself was pre-built by a construction company, how it would be decorated, what color the walls would be and things like that would all be dependent on who Mark Walker's character is. So I was thinking about what would he have, what would he not have, what color furniture would he have, so, where would he place certain basically decorations around the house, what type of pictures would he have hanging on the walls. So when I was building the house, thinking about what colors to use, thinking about what different parts to use, I really took that into consideration, and really I think that my understanding of this character is all the better for that. Post-production for this film was an entirely different matter all on its own, because for this film, I wanted it to not only introduce the character of Mark Walker, I also wanted it to be more or less a quote-unquote proof of concept film. Because you see, I really want to enhance the quality of what I have, and I felt that this film would be the perfect way to do that. So I was thinking about things that I could stick into my film to make the quality so much better, things to not put in, and things like that. So, for example, the mouth animation, that was something that I introduced with this film. Specific filters, putting in more unsharp mask, but too much. Really pushing the flicker free. Basically, a lot of it was technical stuff that most people wouldn't notice, but there was also a lot of other visual effects that I stuck in there too. Like, I was really experimenting with particle systems in After Effects, because I kind of used them in the past. I used them in Ninjago Visions and Memories and Alpha Team Mission Deep Jungle, but in this film I wanted it to more or less take it to a new level. I'm trying to think about what color would these different effects be depending on what they are, what's the story here, because I have to keep in mind that you can't have visual effects just for the sake of having visual effects, because for me, it needs to support the story. It needs to have a purpose for being there. So when I was doing the effects for the ray gun, I was thinking, what is this ray gun doing? Why is it shooting this way? Why does it have such nasty recoil? I was thinking about all these different things when I was sticking in the visual effects. So through all this work, I still was 21 minutes late in getting the film submitted. Don't worry, you can tell I'm totally not bitter about that. No, seriously, I'm not bitter about it. Anyway, as for audience reception to the film, not a lot of people have seen it, though to be fair, it did come out back on Friday. This Friday, that was. So there hasn't been a lot of time that it's been out, but people who have seen it have really enjoyed it. They've given it very positive feedback, so it's very nice to see that this little film still gets nice appreciation and really introduces a new original character into the cinematic universe. And thank you for joining me for this inside look at the creation of the film Clone. If you enjoyed this behind the scenes video, be sure to check out our website where you can watch behind the scenes videos for all of our different movies, as well as the films themselves. And if you want to check out other stuff that I've created, just go to the Mustache Maniacs Film Co. website where you can find all of the different parts of our network, including our press room, our wiki, our Vimeo channel, our Google+, and so much more. I'll see you again for another behind the scenes video.